everyone, it's Justine and welcome to the kickoff of my 12 days of Christmas card tutorial celebration. This is my third year doing it and I'm super excited to get started. Today we're going to be doing multiple cards actually, and really easy and basic supplies. I'm going to be using the stamp set here from Concord and Ninth, and I'll have all the supplies listed below in the video description of my blog. We're going to be using the trees mostly. I love the little ornaments that come on here, and there's a really great set because you have a combination of images and sentiments, which is always really good to have instead of just one or the other. Also, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video where I'll let you know how you can win this stamp set from Concord and Ninth. So I'm going to be using all three of the Christmas trees, and I'm going to set them up so they kind of look like summer in the background and the foreground and whatnot. And just a sentiment. It's going to be quite a simple card. This year I'm kind of going for a more traditional look with my own personal cards that I'm sending out. Of course, I'm creating a variety for the series, but I'm really looking at very neutral tones this year. And last year I was kind of focusing more on like navy silver, and this is just kind of my vision for this year. It's more of a craft, natural, twine kind of look and burlap. So this card personally fits to my style for this year as to what I'm going to be creating for many people. As I mentioned, I'm going to be creating multiple cards this time around, so I'm going to be stamping these using some white pigment ink, and because I'm using my Mini Misty, I'm going to be doing all of these at one time. So I'm going to be doing two in this sort of lighter craft color, and then I'm going to be doing some in the darker craft color. So you can really see how great the Mini Misty is, or the Misty in general, the stamping tool for creating bulk cards, because it's just really a lot faster because you just slip in your card bases each time. Now what's really important is that you dry them after you're finished, because it's white pigment ink and it's made of a pigment. It needs to be heat set in order for it to dry. Now eventually I am going to be doing 3 of these trees in total, but because of the way it's placed, I do want to get this done first. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm just drying this off with my hand and getting it all ready to go, is I wiped off that white pigment ink and I'm going to be inking up the stamps in green and red, and I am going to be stamping them just slightly off center of where I stamped them before. So it's going to create sort of a white shadow behind there. It's going to almost look like snow. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to shift my Misty over about 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm just going to stamp down again in the exact same spot. So there's no need to remove your stamps or anything like that. You just need to ink them up with a different color, and you can see how the offset of the white really stands out. So I'm going to be doing that for each one of them, and sometimes I switched having the green in the center and the red in the center, just to kind of give it a little different look, but you can do them all the same, of course. So again, I'm really curious to see what it looks like, the difference when you're using the dark cardstock and the light craft cardstock, to see what the difference looks like between the white stamping and how that look turns out. Then it came time to just do the third tree. It was a little bit of a pain not having all 3 trees, but the third tree that came with this set was a very short fir tree, and I wanted them to all be a similar length in order to create some consistency on the card. So I ended up having to go back and stamp that one I stamped on the right. So essentially I just repeated the process so that I had all 3 trees finished for each card. I love the way the offset white looks. It looks like the trees are full of snow. I think it looks fantastic, and it also gives your ink a chance to be its true color. So if you stamp on just the craft cardstock, it's going to take on that brown tone and that's going to affect the color. But when you stamp on white pigment first, it's going to create a more true look. Next up, I just grabbed my Christmas stamp, my sentiment here called Oh Christmas Tree, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the trees, where I stamp it first in white, and then I'm going to stamp it in black ink this time though, as the offset. So I'm just going to take all 4 panels, and I'm going to do this. So if you're doing your own cards, you can create 50 panels of these if you want to, and you can do 50 cards. I'm showing you how to do them with 4, and I'm also putting some variations, but again, you can just make the same card over and over again and make your life a lot easier. So again, I'm just offsetting it about 1/8 of an inch, not even, and it's just going to give me that sort of outline and that shadow, which looks amazing against the white and the black. I think it looks really like a great contrast. Now before I attach each panel to the card base, I'm just going to create a bow out of some twine. I'm not good at creating perfect bows. My theory is you just pull it and then you pull until you get it the way you look, and then you just trim off some edges. So just keep playing with it and you'll get it eventually. Next up, I took my card bases. So I took all the card bases are the same colors as the card front panels, so I took 2 dark and 2 light, but I decided when I'm attaching them that I'm going to attach the light color onto the dark color and the dark color onto the light card base. I think it's going to give it some really great contrast, and because these 2 papers are from the same company, they're from My Favorite Things, I'm pretty sure that the contrast between the colors is going to work out really perfectly. And you can't really see the detail too much in these light ones, but it's a really natural look, and it's even got some flaws in it, which I really love. So I'm just going to stick on my card panels one by one, and that's pretty much going to finish up the card. If you know you can get away with attaching some 3D foam tape on there without getting extra shipping costs, that would definitely help because the twine is attached to the back. It is creating a little bit of bulkiness and it's a little bit harder to glue down because you have that sort of string in the way. So if you can put some thin 3D foam tape, that would be a wonderful idea. But I know if I put that on there, it's going to charge me extra for postage. I like to use liquid glue when attaching my panels because it gives me a little time to play. So if it's off center or I drop it or anything like that, it's not a permanent fix until a couple of seconds later. And that's personally my choice in picking my adhesive. I need something that's going to move around, and that's something I don't get from running tape or any sort of tape. You can see that I screwed up on one of these card panels and had 2 green trees next to each other, so I had to redo it. So I did it on the back as to not waste paper. That's why you're seeing that on the back. And I just love the way that the dark is looking against the light and the light against the dark. I think they look really great. Now these are very plain and simple cards. I do love the looks of them, but I thought I would add just a little bit of sparkle to my card, and the best way to add some sparkle to me is adding a little bit of Wink of Stella. So I grabbed my Wink of Stella pen and I just went over all of the trees on the cards. So I tried to stay sort of in the lines, I guess you could say, by just sort of brushing in the direction of the fir leaf or fir branches, and then I did them on all the cards, and I think it just adds a little bit of extra, and I think you're able to see it on the camera, which is really good too, because often the camera doesn't pick it up and this part's sort of useless, but you can see the shine that it gives off. So that is the end of today's card tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this sort of bulk card making ideas. Here's a final look at the last couple of cards. Also, I'm doing a giveaway which is sponsored by me for the Lots of Blots stamp from Concord and 9th. So all you have to do is leave a comment below and let me know how many Christmas cards are you making this holiday season. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video and giveaway.